Okay guys, this is the video with the voice actor interviews from the Animedia Magazine, this one here, with the voice actors for Male Rover, Female Rover, and Jinhsi. There's also another interview in here, which I'll be releasing tomorrow with Solon, the producer of Kuro games, or Wuthering Waves specifically, should I say, where he talked about any possible future collaborations in the game, so make sure you're followed and subscribed if you're interested about that. Also, don't forget to check out my other videos where I go through the interviews in Pash magazine here. This has interviews with the voice actors for Carlotta, Rotja, Brandt, Zani, and Phoebe as well. They will all be linked in the description if you're interested. But you might be wondering, what exactly are Animedia and Pash magazines? Animedia is a Japanese monthly anime magazine by IID, first published on June 9th, 1981. So it has been around longer than I have been alive. So this is one of the OG types of anime magazines out there. It actually says here it is one of the top 3 anime magazines and one of the top 10 best-selling anime magazines in all of Japan. And when it comes to Pash magazine here, a bit of information on Pash magazine, I'm just gonna, they don't have an English page here, but this is the page, this is the Wikipedia page for Pash magazine. And it says here, I just translated it English for you guys, that Pash is a Japanese anime magazine published by Shufu in Seikatsusha. It is the first magazine in the industry to focus on anime for women. And it's have been described by fellow publisher Kadokawa as a pioneer of anime magazines. So these two magazines are quite big in Japan in the space of anime, gaming, that sort of thing. So without further ado, let's get right into it. Male Rover. What are your impressions of Wuthering Waves? Has anything changed since launch and where it is now? My involvement in Wuthering Waves started when I was first approached to audition. That was around the same time where beta testing was already underway. With the huge number of games being released all around the world, it has become difficult to create something new, so I approached the role with the desire to find something that's truly unique to Wuthering Waves. When it was released, I thought I'd check the game out, and when I tried playing it, I got the impression that it was a game with an incredibly low barrier to entry, much like The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild within this open-world adventure genre. Before that, open-world titles were somewhat geared towards adults, and there were many titles for PC and consoles that were called death games, like those from Software, or niche titles with an exquisite sense of distance. From that, I got the impression that this genre was getting incredibly popular and thought that Wuthering Waves would be a game in high demand. At first, I didn't think about breaking new ground, but I really liked the Nier series and the first area of Huanglong, which had a blend of nature and civilization in an extreme state of decay, and because it was so similar to Nier, I really enjoyed that area. Furthermore, when I saw the world building, the game system itself, even things like where weapons were drawn and sheathed, on top of the stylish action, more and more I grew to really like the game and became absorbed in the world. After that, the elements I like have been expanded on with each update to the point where I'm a little worried about Kuro Games' customer-first attitude. The amount of times they've updated the game, so much so that it's kind of hard to recognize it since its first iteration. The game system has been improved, and looking at the reactions of players on social media, there are many people commenting on the speed of response to the customers, which they think is kind of strange, and I think that in itself is very interesting. I think Wuthering Waves is an example of what games will be like in the future. It's not just a new game, but a clear example of what the next generation of games is going to be, which includes what players can expect from their developers. It gives the impression of being a new breed with a new style of content. As both the voice of Male Rover, but also as a player, what do you feel is the appeal of Wuthering Waves? Since I'm the voice of Male Rover, I think I might be the one role-playing the most in Japan. Sorry. Of course, I think that each person feels a deep sense of immersion depending on how they play, but when it comes to the Japanese version of Wuthering Waves, I don't think anyone can match me. When you play through the individual stories with the characters, it often becomes like a date, doesn't it? At times like that, I play with a feeling of jealousy towards Rover, but then I also think, yeah, that's me. That's literally me. Oh, I see. It seems you yourself are having a lot of fun, right? I never thought I would become so intimate with Wuthering Waves as the Rover and make it my life's work. And when I first started playing the game, the characters were so cute. It had been a while since I'd felt any kind of connection or had any feelings for a character, such as thinking they were cute or beautiful or thinking, yeah, I really like this character. It seems that you're really into it. What do you think about Female Rover? In the game, I think she's my biggest rival. Whenever I see fan art on social media or something, the algorithm keeps pushing out content tailored to the user's tastes, so my timeline is already full of stuff about Wuthering Waves. And when I see fan art which features only the Male Rover, I think, oh, I see. Whereas when I see the female Rover, I think, well, yeah, I guess people would like that combination. In-game, right now, it's possible to switch between Male Rover and Female Rover and enjoy playing both. But yeah, I don't want to lose to her, so that makes her my biggest rival. What do you think about the characterization and image of Rover? While the other characters are all very unique, I felt that in order to keep the player immersed in the game, it would be better to not push the Rover's personality too much. And of course, the character description given to me included that aspect too, so I didn't try to portray him in such a big way or try to impose some kind of outlook on life on his character before playing him. However, as I played the game, there were many moments where the personality of Rover gradually became apparent even in parts that I wasn't voicing. For example, there were some pretty interesting choices made in the quests, and I saw them being well received on social media. I remember thinking, oh yeah, there was this answer too. And I don't mean the characters did something that was completely out of character, but that the personalities that emerge from the choices made in-game were quite varied, so I think that that aspect is also fun. For me, Rover is a person who is someone who is a little too flat. They have interests and help people, but they don't interfere too much. They have some insensitive parts to them, but they certainly have a heart and indescribable omnipotence, and I try to portray them in a way that highlights those parts about the character. Who is your favorite character? That's hard to choose. I started with Yin Lin, and as a player, Shorekeeper is the easiest to use healer. But there's this character that has only appeared in the story called Geshu Lin, who is so damn cool. In 2.0, Zani is incredibly popular, and I like her too. Same thing for version 2.2's Cantarella too. Female Rover. What impression do you have of Wuthering Waves? The story is really interesting, and the characters all have their own appeal. I remember thinking when I was recording the lines that this was a game that I would definitely get into and looking forward to playing every day. Does that mean that you play Wuthering Waves? What did you find appealing about Wuthering Waves after playing it? I play as Female Rover in the game. Ever since recording my lines, seeing the graphics and other voice lines added for other characters, I saw the world of Wuthering Waves continue to expand further and further. The system is also very well thought out, and I enjoy exploring every corner of the map. The combat is also very exhilarating, and it's even more fun that you can dodge and counterattack. Also, it may seem like a small thing, but I really like the sound effects. The sound effects that you hear when you get new things or level up are very satisfying to listen to. How did you feel when you were cast as Female Rover? I was really surprised that I was going to play the main character. The first time I started recording for the character was right after it was decided that I was going to be voicing Female Rover, so I immediately checked the script and prepared for the recording. The staff were all very kind and hospitable. They prepared some tea for me that was good for my throat. They offered me sweets, and the recording session proceeded with a warm atmosphere, and before I knew it, my nervousness had completely disappeared. What kind of person is Female Rover, in your opinion? I think she's really cool and level-headed, with very few emotional ups and downs. The choices can be quite surprising though. She's someone who doesn't usually raise her voice, but she often has some cool, loud catchphrases during battles, which I think is a great contrast to her personality. Please tell us what you find appealing about Female Rover. Of course, I think she's beautiful, but also has a certain handsomeness to her too. And her combat animations are so cool. I love her animation where she sheathes her sword. But she also has these cute sides to her too, along with hiding a certain hidden power. It's also great seeing all the different characters drawn to Rover too. What are your impressions of Male Rover played by Toshiki Masuda? They are very cool, of course, but they're also a little sexy too. Masuda's voice is a perfect fit, and while he's carefree, I think he also has a kind of fragility to him, which makes you want to help and cooperate with him. How were the recording sessions? I'm using a very high-performance microphone to record, so I'm especially careful about noise. I often practice at home before I start to match the video, so I do a lot of rehearsals. But when I feel I'm missing some of the finer details, like breathing during the battles, I ask them to check and re-record it, or to make some kind of adjustments. Please tell us your memories of recording. Were there any difficulties you faced when preparing for the role? When I first prepared for the role, I was told that she was a calm, unfazed girl, and when I went to the test recording, I remember getting the okay right away. However, it was a little difficult to read the long explanatory lines while keeping that character and also to say all of the jargon properly. Are there any characters in Wuthering Waves that interest you? Jian. First of all, his character design is a home run for me. When I tried him out in his character trial, he was so strong that I fought solo Jian for the entire time. He's just so cool. He's my general. I want to follow him for the rest of my life. Is there anything you would like to see in the future from Wuthering Waves? I'd love more IRL events. I'd love to say hi and meet everyone that's actually playing the game in person. Finally, do you have a message for fans and readers who might play Wuthering Waves in the future? Thank you so much for playing Wuthering Waves. It's amazing to be able to enjoy such a full-fledged open world game you can play on your smartphone. And for those who are just starting to play Wuthering Waves, I think you'll definitely be surprised. In a good way. So prepare yourself for that. I hope you continue to play and enjoy Wuthering Waves. Thank you very much. Jinhsi. What are your impressions of Wuthering Waves? Even before release, I could tell it was a game that had many people around the world extremely looking forward to it. My impression is that the quality of everything in the game is extremely high and will exceed people's expectations. How did you feel when you found out that you would be voicing Jinhsi? Actually, I had originally auditioned for a different character, so I was very surprised that they chose me for Jinhsi. When I got the role, I found out she was a very generous and gentle character, so my surprise turned into an even deeper feeling of curiousness. What kind of person is Jinhsi in your opinion? I felt that Jinhsi is someone that blends kindness and precariousness and is willing to sacrifice herself. I really admire them as a person, both for their dignity as a leader of the people and their generous and warm personality. What do you think are Jinhsi's main appeals? First, her design is very good. Her delicate silver hair tied up into a neat and careful hairstyle, and each of her motions is full of elegance, and yet it contrasts beautifully with her overwhelming strength. That's something I think is very intriguing. What kind of direction were you given when recording voice lines for her? In the first test recording, I had a very cute impression of Jinhsi, so I tried to act much younger than she is now, and I was directed to sound more dignified, as that is a major characteristic of Jinhsi. From there, I took some time to dial in the voice while imagining not only her visual cuteness and youth, but also the nobility of being Prime Minister and the conflict and anguish that led to that position. That's how the current Jinhsi was created. Please tell us your memories of recording and any difficulties you faced in preparing for the role. Jinhsi is a woman who has the dignity of a leader but also a soft and gentle heart, neither of which I currently possess. So I remember going through a lot of trial and error with the recording staff to figure out how best to express her. Are there any characters in Wuthering Waves that interest you? Sanhua. She is currently playing an active role as Jinhsi's guard, and she usually has a calm and silent personality, but sometimes there's this passion that can be glimpsed from her that I really want to see more up close and personally. Are there any future developments you would like to see in Wuthering Waves? Of course, I really hope that it will be made into an anime. Recording for the game was done by myself most of the time, and I had to imagine things like the breathing of Rover or Changli while recording. So I think it would be really fun to pour my soul into acting with the other actors in this very profound and epic story. Finally, please give a message to your fans and readers who will be coming into contact with Wuthering Waves in the future. I am truly honored to have had the opportunity to take part in Wuthering Waves. I hope that everyone who comes into contact with Wuthering Waves from now on will empathize with its beautiful story and the subtle emotions of the characters. And I would be delighted if you could keep an eye on the future of Jinhsi too. Okay, some of you might be wondering why there wasn't any final message from Masuda, the voice of Male Rover. That's because his interview isn't actually over. It says in this corner here that there will be a continuation of his interview in the next issue. So this 4-part series is actually going to be a 5-part series. So look forward to that. Hopefully in the next issue there's going to be another freebie as well. Like in this interview, check what I got. Ooh, see this here? This is a massive poster of Cantarella. You can bet your ass I'm going to be ironing this out, framing it, and putting it on my wall. There's also some other freebies like this Jibaku Shonen Hanako-kun clear file, but I don't really care about that. For now, the next video that's going to come out tomorrow is going to be the interview with Solon, where, like I said, he's going to be talking about a bunch of other things like inspirations for Wuthering Waves, where he sees this going, like how he came up with voice, like how he came up with deciding who's going to voice the characters, like designing the characters' backstories, that sort of thing, and also any future collaborations with Wuthering Waves, like maybe with PGR or some other things. The point is, look forward to that video. That's going to come out tomorrow. So make sure you are subscribed if you are interested in watching that. So until next time, I will see you in the next video. Peace.